I want to dismantle this thought that it's too late.
Yes.
Because I think that I'm a millennial, and like millennial women would really set up for the okie doke because they told us from when we were little, don't depend on anybody. Make sure you get your own. Always be independent. Go to college. Get an education. Don't have a don't put a man before your, like, we were hammered. The messaging was go to college, have something that you can stand on, and then think about a man and a baby. And a lot of us did that, and what that did was it made us older, entering motherhood. We started thinking about making a family later, and then I feel like we just got shamed on the back end. We were like, wait a minute, but I thought this is what we were supposed to do.
American Black women were set up to fail. In relationships, at least. We were sold a pipe dream and believed that we could attain the level of success we saw portrayed in movies or magazines. Feminism promised freedom because it gave women economic independence from men and meant they were no longer trapped in marriages that were often assumed to be abusive, toxic, and unfulfilling. The freedom to work, earn money, and pursue one's destiny apart from the burden of a husband and child gave women a kind of flexibility and agility that previous generations of women did not have. Women were told that somehow securing a stable job is foundational to being a smart, progressive woman, and that the best women out there are those who are getting the bag. The smart and safe best choice for Black women was to build oneself up through a career before putting serious thought into making a stable commitment to a man. Oftentimes, these messages were coupled with traumatizing anecdotal stories, usually of women in the family or close friends who found themselves stuck in toxic marriages and wished for a way out. This kind of fear-mongering was the perfect way to influence young millennial women to avoid the sins of their previous ancestors and protect themselves from getting their own money by getting their own money so they ain't got to depend on those ninjas. Along with that was the harsh discouragement of getting involved with anyone while you were too young. After all, you're supposed to spend the best of your young adult years, quote unquote, finding yourself. Sadly, a lot of women found themselves in and out of bed of toxic men, which they later on had to go on healing journeys to recover from. But casual sex is supposedly no big deal, right? Again, that was another toxic tenet of feminism that our previous ancestors didn't have: sexual liberation. There are many problems with the advice Black millennial women were given when it comes to relationships, and the fact that we're even having this conversation today proves my point. But let's break down some of the key fallacies associated with this boss chick narrative, or this I don't need a man narrative, and then talk through the best ways to move beyond it. First of all, can't women multitask? We act like women can't pursue a career or a trade while maintaining a relationship or building a family. The reality is Black women have always done this in America. Black women have always worked, even when white women weren't working. We worked because we had to. Now, Black women didn't always have the best jobs. It was often manual labor, but either way, Black women showed they could do both. So this whole I have to focus on my career first before I get a man is all cap, because we've seen historically that Black women had to do both. The truth is, women were often saying that from a place of fear and trauma, or just a general lack of respect for marriage. A lot of these women who preached this did not come from a healed place. Because while I do think it's okay for women to have their own trade or skill or be able to make their own money, doing so at the expense of your own familial and relationship success not only goes against the laws of nature, it just makes it harder for women unnecessarily. Because what these ladies often find when they are finally ready to settle down is that the streets get rougher and rougher as time goes on. The reality is, women are valued differently in the dating market than men are. Heterosexual men usually value youth and beauty. Women offer the most youth and beauty when they are usually college years, getting their careers off the ground. Not to mention, you're the most likely to be around competent, level-headed, bright-minded men in college who are likely single and likely to be on the same class or higher class that women aspire to, making it the most logical to lock down good men when they are still available and around you. After college, it's just harder to meet men. Not to mention, as men get older and attain more money, they tend to have more women interested in them, which actually creates more competition for the women who might be looking for a partner. Case in point, the longer women wait to settle down, often the harder it is for them to find viable partners who are, quote, on their level, unquote, attractive enough and available. Because men have more options as they age, whereas women's options tend to dwindle because of what men value. These are just general facts. It also increases the risk of single motherhood or abortion, both which come with its own set of challenges, whether it be financial, psychological, or both. It's not like these women are focusing on themselves while being Puritans and maintaining healthy boundaries around their body. Many often use those formative years as a reason to ride the cock carousel, creating unnecessary soul ties, relational baggage, unwanted pregnancies, abortions, etc., all things that just add for the woman's need to go on a healing journey after she's built her career, which could again prolong her ability to find a suitable mate. And then also, Black women can't even afford independence. This whole boss babe thing is a joke, literally. The reality is, Black women, particularly Black single mothers, are some of the most susceptible to poverty. And while Black women go to college more than Black men, they have much more school debt. And that comes with its own economic challenges. Also, Black women make less than Black men, largely due to the kinds of jobs Black women take or find themselves in. And there are plenty of trade skill jobs out there that pay well but do not require thousands of dollars of school debt. These are the kinds of jobs Black men tend to be attracted to, which often gives them more economic agility than Black women, despite them having a lower education. With the average Black woman making around $44,000 a year, that simply can't keep up with the rising cost of gas, food, rent, mortgage, etc. So being able to afford a comfortable elite lifestyle right now as a single Black woman is something only a small percentage experience. Others who are doing it single are not securing the bag at all. They're just surviving. Again, these are just a few of the challenges with the whole focus on yourself verbiage, right? Not to mention, God did not create women to be out here fending for themselves. Many women have replaced men with daddy government out of financial necessity, and that goes totally against God's order. What we don't understand with this whole toxic rhetoric is that we actually derive benefit as a woman when we are connected with healthy, godly men in our life. Men provide order, leadership, stability, vision, and emotional and spiritual coverage. They're not just pocketbooks. Actually, for many of us, we can't even reach our full potential until we've met the man God has for us, because there is power in numbers. Scripture says 100 puts 1,000 to flight and 2 put 10,000 to flight, speaking of the power of covenant relationships. But if we're so focused on our career that we don't even create room for the possibility for a healthy relationship while we are growing, we could be robbing ourselves of our own blessing. So yes, many of us were sold a lie. And some are so focused on their career that they find themselves in their late 20s, 30s, even 40s, socially awkward, not knowing how to get along with the opposite sex, or just having a whole bunch of different bitterness that drives men away. So honestly, to get beyond this, many of us have to be willing to unlearn and relearn some things. There is a possibility of settling down, but it will likely take a different approach. I can say for myself, as someone who definitely was sold the same nonsense, I had to let a lot of things go. I had to surrender to God a whole bunch of nonsense ideas and ask for his pick for me. I had to really examine the things I was doing to undermine my success and make some dramatic changes, behavioral-wise and also emotionally, spiritually, all the above. I started studying other married couples and seeking advice from people who had marriages and relationships I desired. And ultimately, I asked God to arrange my marriage and send me the man he had for me. And I met my now husband. Him and I went through premarital counseling from 2 pastors who assured we were a good fit. And even in that process, they challenged me on some of my thinking. I am still learning every day, but my point is, it's not too late if you figured out you were sold the okie doke. But in order to get from letting go of those lies, you're going to have to be willing to make some big changes. And you're likely going to have to humble yourself and have some hard come to Jesus moments where you got to face the ugly about yourself. But I'd say it's worth it. But what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.